Mifambo de unakushe unakabo. Welcome to the Green Movement. Uh, Today we get some key issues then where I believe say Sierra Leone for Sabi, followers of the Green Movement for Sabi. Yesterday with presidential spokesperson Wayne Keke Thomas Sandi, he been get the opportunity to can the public to showcase some things then where President Bill don't do since President Bill don't become president inside these 4 years. So well, they can go through them. But however, I want to wanna say where God don't bless a leader, no matter what is somebody want to do, you not go help bring them down. You know, true say true, but true, we true, Sierra Leone, the better. Propaganda not go for make somebody kind of power. This time around, Sierra Leoneans, we are open. And we believe, see, upon all the difficulties then within at the war, we tell God times we get a responsible government, we care about we they work very hard to make sure we country let it better. Even though it's not easy, even though we get enemy of progress them, we they work very hard to make sure this government go down. So Sierra Leoneans, welcome to the Green Movement, wherein we can look at hot seat presidential spokesperson, Keke Thomas Sandy, in your analysis, the way they can tell we about President B, what he don't do within 4 years. And we can get to right now. This is from a favorite program, the Green Movement. Where Sierra Leoneans, I give you Keke Thomas Sandy.
Leone. Now, so I welcome all we viewers from across the country and across the world to the program Hot Seats. This is not the program where they ask the questions same way when I came for ask, where they talk to people in public service, people in government, politicians, people in civil society, the media, business as well, on what we all they do for ensure say this country go before. And as always, me now I present Amadou Lamgana Ba, and inside the show today, I get the pleasure for welcome the press secretary and presidential spokesman. We can talk about the 4 years of President Bill, and in government since he was elected in 2018. We can look at the manifesto in what they been say they do, what they don't do, what are the challenges. I get the pleasure for welcome Yusuf Keke Thomas Sandi, when are the press secretary and presidential spokesman. It is a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
At least every year they get you at the show.
Yes, you always know how to catch me.
I know.
You always know how to catch me.
You're a very busy man.
Thank you very much.
Very much welcome. How has it been, from opposition to governance in 4 years? Is it something you've been enjoying?
Yes, definitely, because public service is a privilege. When we get to elections, voters they vote, then trust their confidence in you, and then if you are privileged to be appointed to serve, we are servants of the people. So I'm here to serve you, and which means that yes, it has its own challenges, it has its own sweet moments, but I think at the end of the day, what is more important is your commitment to public service. You want to see changes, you want to make changes. So I often say to people that whoever president is in power, it takes 5 years, it takes 10 years. The important thing is this: is by the time you serve your 5 or 10 years, there has to be changes. There has to be things, how people's lives have been affected. And that is the motivation. And also, you get inspired by somebody you're serving. So the president is very inspirational. There are many things he has done over the 4 years. They have challenges. And those challenges, obviously, we are finding ways how we can be able to address them. But I think because he's so inspiring, you always want to wake up in the morning, come to your work, come to your job, and also make sure you connect the people and the
You don't ever get that time. I've been to tell somebody a few days ago, I in a radio with the talk. I say you get one of the biggest jobs. You ever talk about the economy, about youth, about agriculture, about tourism inside one interview, not specifically media houses having the ministers. Has there been a point where you think, this is challenging, this is too much for me?
I'm glad the way you said can feel for me small. But I think it's always a difficult job because, like what you say, at one moment, we post in the interview, you need to know about everything in the country, every policy and every ministry. So it takes a lot to make you research, make you get facts, because also you get forget facts. And those facts, they have to be concrete because when you talk for president, the challenge to that is, for lie.
So you not can lie at all?
Well, I'm not going to reason for lie because if I'm not getting the fact, you ask me question.
But you can propaganda, you can...
No, I'm not going to do propaganda because propaganda, you almost like, you manipulate people. You understand?
So always you can say that too.
Not the facts. If you ask me question, I tell you, say, we not do something, I go answer, I go accept. And I go tell you, say, yes, we not do it, but we try for do them. Because at the end of the day, there is one thing in governance and one thing in politics. Waiting don't happen over many, many years is that sometimes it comes to a point when there is lack of trust. Because anytime a politician open mouth, people can feel say, oh, this is can lie. This is can make story, you understand? So we self with on public service, on politics. We for do everything we can for change that perception. And it can make we say President Bio na talk and do man.
Okay.
And that talk and do na in legacy than because a one for way is they do something and not do am. He do something, he do am rather. If he not do the thing, if I come back to you and say, okay, now maybe say, oh, but we get challenges here and there. Now I make we all don't get this kind of discipline for say, wait till we talk or for do am, or wait till we talk if it be the truth.
So the inspiration of saying truths to the public comes from the president?
Yes, it comes from the president because like I say, that is the delicacy about my own job.
Okay.
Because I speak on behalf of the president and therefore I should not lie. Because
So
if I lie, it will give bad impression to the president.
So Yusuf Keke Thomas and they don't tell we say for the 4 years, all waiting they don't they say is actually the facts.
The facts.
Yes,
the facts.
not propaganda or not lies at
nothing.
all.
I make like you say, I get me statistics, I get me facts.
Okay.
It's a different question. How do this translate? We can do back and forth, argue about that one day. Because at the end of the day, like I say, Lamgana, people forget trust in people when they serve a public office.
Okay.
If there is no trust, then it's the fundamental discord between una, when the people and we una elect for serve.
4 years down the line, you think say the public don't get that trust in a government we win an election with high hopes from the people we believe say the past regime not do well with the economy, with human rights issues, governance generally. You think so not able uphold that trust there and build more now in these past 4 years?
Yes, I think we don't restore trust because like I say, we don't make sure say you get a precedent. We get a simple 2-3 words legacy, talk and do. And that talk and do it means a lot to ordinary people because it means say if President Bio can say today, and they do A, it go do the A. That is the fundamental. And we feel say yes, as a country for the past 4 years, there are many things we've achieved. There are challenges. And there are things, so I'm going to tell somebody today, that February 2018, when Ugo Potloko, when President will launch the manifesto, when he launched the manifesto, he launched, like you say, with high aspirations, because he believed in those aspirations, okay? But from 2018 to now, things have changed, okay? So by the time he launched the manifesto 2018, we launched with the belief, say, everything will remain constant. Nothing will change. Like economics, then will tell you, say, ceteris paribus. Okay? Now, things have changed. And the two things that we don't change fundamentally are the fact, say, we don't get COVID, we don't come, and then the war in Ukraine.
Okay.
We don't pose their own challenge.
I'll ask this question. President Bio, in campaign messages, most times we've been the talk, campaign for the elections, he repeatedly been they say, we economy on a life support. The now chief minister, plenty time talk about bread and butter issue, how the past regime government not be able to handle bread and butter issue. And now that's on a campaign. That's on one can save this economy from life support, make somebody will go get medicine, again the medicine lay well, so every other cell union go better. And the three things, one of the three things that we President Bill mentioned in inauguration, the three words we say they can fit. One, na corruption, the second one, na lawlessness, and the third one, na poverty. this economy, una able to pull them from life supports, move them to a stage where una think say they go able to help people and for come out from poverty as now one of the promises and the president be make na inauguration.
Indeed, we pull them from life supports. And then it begin to function. So I'll give you simple instance because obviously when you talk figures and facts, people can understand better. Now, when we come 2018, one of the things that we want to do now for domestic revenue mobilization, because no government no go do any work if you're not able to get the revenue for do the work. So by 2017, before we come, the domestic revenue will be at 12.3%. By 2018, we move on to 13.7%. Then by 2019, we increased until 14.8% 2019. But what's happened? COVID come. So when COVID come, all these percentage gains we don't make, okay? From 12% to now 14%, COVID wipe them off. So by 2020, we reduce back to 13.8% as
inflation.
GDP. No,
in GDP.
Yes, the revenue way with the way then called.
Then inflation go high.
Yes, exactly. So it means say by the time we come, we will get a trajectory. We will get how they move. Will the move will increase go up. But when COVID come, then they cut. And because it cut, it affects the economy. And because it affects the economy, everything changed. So you realize that in fact, we now put what we call the quick economic program. You understand? Will be there specifically for how do we manage the COVID, because the COVID don't come. That was the time where, for instance, we put say, okay, law put 500 million loans for able support people when are importers them. When are the private sector for law get commodities that the market people able get. Okay, now the same time back we begin do what they call emergency cash transfer.
Okay.
So they want to traders them, we'll give them money. At the same time back through NACSA back, then begin give them persons with disabilities, we begin give them money. So it means say the trajectory will start with, you understand? The increase they will start to make, COVID can affect them. So therefore it means say economically, we be now get for address.
But with domestic revenue, business people were still paying tax.
Yes,
institutions were still paying tax. And even during COVID, we received a lot of support from the World Bank and other international donor partners. We come into the economy, we government use for getting support there. So how could he drastically affect our economy?
But it just means say by then tax reduction can say because COVID don't come, obviously business only perform as they perform under normal circumstances, okay? Because of the COVID. Remember say lockdown they begin come, remember say people earnings they begin slow. Now if they obviously do charges for shipment of freight, then they all go high. So all of them one and they affect government in revenue they taking.
Okay.
We mean say everything go low.
Okay.
But then
so the economy go in coma again.
Well, I'm not gonna say it go in coma, but I go say we pull on by the oxygen. It begin for now do well, and then they come it shake them.
Okay.
And because it shake them, we now get for do policies now where they address that existential issue when I be the COVID.
Okay.
Yes.
And after the COVID, from we see COVID on the subside, and the economies and on the move now the world, traveling open up and all that. But the economy is still challenging. You know, the bread and butter issue, the poverty where the president been promising. Now one of the world away come for faith. More people perhaps you know are getting into poverty than it used to be.
Well, I think yes, indeed. Remember, I said COVID not done it. You understand it? So the difference between COVID and Ebola was that Ebola was just Liberia, just in the manner of Union. You understand it? COVID now it's a worldwide thing. So it means say IMF or World Bank or all the one and they now countries them now they put money into them fund. Then countries that they back, let's say UK, the US, they now get challenges now for take care of their own people. You understand? So even waiting then they give ordinarily to those decisions all don't cut. Now, so the also we did now the fact say we are now beginning to grappling with the effects of the COVID. Okay. So it means, for instance, containers for shipment. You understand? Before now, you get them be there in each coast, but now all of them they all do affect. So now what we do now for see how we be able to transition now for come off from this COVID now and make sure say we then put the economy back. But it's a transition. Okay, so you talk about obviously things that we get for do it affect people indirectly. Okay, the bread and butter issue.
Yeah,
understand it? Now, man, I go tell you this: no president or no government no go look for sit down in a country, price and goes they go up. You understand it? And then you feel good. No, because at the end of the day, I get friends them, okay? I get people away and my relatives them. They go to market, okay? Then they see things that affect them. So, but then, now a question of whether the things the way they happen, are they within the control or are they outside the control? Okay? So when we don't they move away from this COVID small, say, then this war now Ukraine starts, okay? Ukraine and Russia.
Okay.
And why it's important is because Lamana, the world is a globalized village, okay? So even the OMC people, they tell you, say, Russia alone amounts of 56% of the Zero Deccan Africa. So it means that if war starts there, you understand, it don't disrupt, it don't get supply disruptions all around the world. It don't affect price, it don't affect everything. So what means that because fuel is very fundamental to everything, you understand, once that price they become affected, it affects all the price in the market. Okay? That is one. But also over and beyond that, on the issue of food, when we come, we have invested very hugely in agriculture. So, in fact, in agriculture, I will just give one small statistics, Lamana.
Okay.
What I think important. So when we come, we meet the budget where the previous government began agriculture at 3.7%. Out of the 3.7%, 2% was still something where donors them begin. So government were almost spending above 1%. We don't commit to 6%. Now, what do you mean? It means say over the years, we don't buy beaucoup tractors, we don't get beaucoup cultivation, we don't do thousands of acres that we don't do. But the problem is, when we check all of that day, we don't also make sure, say, we don't get a good performance in terms of the rice increase we don't do. So rice self-sufficiency now, the metric, in 2019, we are around 45%. That means say the food
You mean
self-sufficiency.
food where we they grow?
Yes, rice. Rice where they grow, right?
Yeah. The
Self-sufficiency.
country rice.
Yes, 45%. In fact, we don't increase that to 57.7% 2020. Okay, 2020 alone, we produce milled rice. Rice we don't grow, don't come on a kanda, or don't mill. About 637,000.
Okay.
They say of metric ton.
Who's all that rice did they go?
That's the question. Who's all they go? Two things. The problem is one, with consumption habits. With consumption habits simply means say, as Sierra Leoneans, we get preference for rice they would import.
No, but it's because the country rice more expensive than the imported rice.
No, I'll tell you why. So the reason also is because when they produce the rice there, people are already upline. Because we don't get because we don't get preference for the rest.
No, I disagree with that. No, a lot of people will want the country rest if it's available at the market and it's cheaper or they compete with even the imported rice.
So I tell you now why available at the market. Now I tell you also. So because the farmers they know so we consume. It's not research don't prove them. Say Sierra Leoneans there with consumption habits. You understand? We get more preference for imported rice and local rice.
No, I disagree with Andy. Okay. I think the preference is because it's the forces of the market. No, if this thing is not available and it's expensive because it's not available like the other thing, and they go for waiting are able to afford and get now than the people and they eat.
No, but so I will tell you why it's not available at the market. One,
but it's production. No. The level of production where we do make enough plenty in the market make it expensive.
No, I will tell you why available at the market. So if you give me small time, right?
Okay, go ahead.
I don't say about first the consumption habits, right? Now, because of that consumption habits there, people already produce the rest there. Then now they say the rest for make you can go. So they go and call this informal cross-border trade. Okay, where they happen in Guinea. So most of the rest they produce now, they can't go to Guinea. And they can't go to Guinea for two reasons. Because the Guineans they buy this rest more. You understand?
But Guinea imports rice too. They import rice too.
No,
from Vietnam and other places, Sri Lanka.
They import rice.
Exactly.
But now the preference, okay? That's not one for them. So because then they produce the rest there en masse, and they can't go to Guinea because they get high sales from Guinea because they sell now.
Because it's expensive, they more. If they can't go, then they sell them more expensive. And do you agree that it's expensive in the market here? They locally produce rice. It's expensive. And we are not producing that much. We're going to make the price can down.
So if you ask now, what thing government can able to do for make
No, but why we agree on that? Say, because I'm sure myself and you would prefer to eat country rice because it's healthy than the imported rice. But perhaps we can afford them or you can afford them. But the average or ordinary person can't afford it because you're not there at the market. So he prefer for buy the imported rice.
So the research, I tell you about research.
Mhm.
Research,
Who do that research?
Minister of Agriculture.
Yeah, but
They don't show say, let me kind of tell you say. So we are now so okay. So Lamran, listen. I tell you say there are challenges.
Mhm.
Part of government responsibility now for say how we go address those challenges.
So what is government doing?
Exactly. So what is government doing now? Now we are investing more for make sure say we get tractors for make we produce more. So when means say if government now they produce more, remember we just recently we go Tomabom.
Yeah.
We go launch that project.
No,
there,
not so
okay?
recently. We don't pass 1 year for Mona launch.
No, well, we go last year.
Yeah.
So last year we go Tomabom, we go launch that.
Mhm.
You understand? So now let me give the statistics say we are now producing more. So also we get for address. Now why? Because we produce more, we are still importing more of this rest the way they cannot talk. You understand? How do we make sure firstly we curtail the cross-border trade? So more rest not go out. Okay? It's about surveillance. We can do that one day. But also secondly, we're very important. How do we make sure processing?
Exactly.
So-
Access to markets, packaging. and all that.
Exactly. So even the processing, do we have to do more in terms of, because most of the rest the way they can, these are polished rice. Because when they pull them overseas, by the time they pull them from the markets and cargo before they put them on the bag and all this, they don't polish and shine well.
Yeah.
So even from that level, you see, this rice in eye, if I'm this rice in eye. So all of those things. So we have to put more effort in that. But also, like you say, transportation wise, okay, we get for make sure say we invest more, which we've done. So like all them, they call them feeder roads, where they link the farms then to the markets. Because we got to make sure say if they hold them there, we get them more. Farmers then go get more access for Canada, the markets them and Canada shops them. But if it's over and beyond that, we have to also look at branding.
Okay.
Brand the rest them more and do the nice packaging. So when you go to supermarket safe, you go see them and say, okay, now this is the rest one.
So far, the issue of addressing poverty in food production in 4 years, we are not doing enough it for address that.
we don't do
Apart from policies.
okay, no, but we don't do substantially well. Okay, like I tell you, it is show by the statistics of what we don't produce. Now, there's a different question about how do that translate to the market, okay?
How we address the bread and
Exactly.
butter issue.
So the only way they address the bread and butter, but make sure say we get for now do more for make sure say one, we curtail the cross-border trade. So it means say all the rest of what they produce now, we left for now and make people get access to them. Talk about also in terms of the pricing. We look at the price, but there is also something where Ministry of Trade also don't do. There is what is called the Sierra Leone producing marketing companies. Then get shops right now in regional headquarter towns. About 8 of those shops, they market, they put your own. Part of what they shop for make sure say then get rest the way they sell at a reduced price.
the country rest.
Yes, they sell at a reduced
We're still
price.
expensive past the imported rice.
Yes, so they sell at a reduced price.
But it's expensive than the imported rice.
Yes,
so
but
that's the challenge.
But that's
If-
what we are saying.
How
So
can
they-
the ordinary Sierra Leonean afford that? How can he not go for imported rice from Vietnam than rice
So,
that is
so
locally
Lamana, I will also tell you one thing.
produced?
So I make reference to preference.
Mhm.
Yeah. If you want for it contiguous, yeah, you get money. If contiguous now your preference, you understand it, when now you are it, because you get the money, you can afford for go for
If I can't afford it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So again, the preference is important. So let me just say again, consumption habits get a lot for do in terms of what we consume. Yes, there's a point about, in fact, when we even look at our taxes generally, you know, because of your shit about the research, that even the rest the way they come inside, you understand? There is, for instance, rather, there is no tax on the pure
Yeah,
rice.
there's been no tax for a
You
very
understand
long
what I mean?
time. Tax
But
not the
again,
on rice.
exactly. But again, there's a question of how do we translate, say, government they make huge loss because of revenue loss, because tax not the Paris. How do we make sure we translate that revenue loss there? So people where they import rice, people where they buy rice now in retail, then for able to say yes, government will put tax. So therefore that price they can
President Bill, we've been going to Parliament some time ago. They make a pronouncement, say people them way they give political appointments should have farms, should own farms. You get farm?
Yes, I get farm. Me and me daddy.
Okay, you the
Yes,
farm.
Offline, yes.
So other people them na
Yes,
government,
yes, them get.
they farm.
Boku people them get. I mean,
Okay.
President Bio gets farms, he get Boku farms then, and also the Minister of Foreign Minister gets farms, the Chief Minister get farm. Many people then get farms
Okay.
because you know, like I say, would they lead by examples?
Okay.
Yes, sir. People and they really do a lot of things there. But you know, go see that translate because, like I say, you understand, what we do now, One, we get for change the preference, do in terms of the processing and address all the one in
The Tomabon project, now one way the president's been launched with excitement. He believe that kind of project they go help a lot for, address food self-sufficiency. We go able to feed, we save the rest go enough. How far with that project they?
They don't go far, they go launch then they can do
They don't begin plants now?
Yes, no, they don't begin plant.
So when do they harvest? Now one, they don't pass 1 year now, but
no, and harvest is not to take place.
Mm.
Yeah. But what I go need for do, I go need for make sure say the Ministry of Trade I connect you there, so then go give you actual statistics of what's in that.
Okay, you not get statistics for that.
I will tell you say we don't plant, we don't begin to produce some of the rest every day. You understand? In fact, we even expand them as well, because like I say, President believes say agriculture. You understand? Now the only key we get for make we address poverty. You understand? But over and beyond that, when President Kai talk about one thing, he said we'll be not over-reliant on the mining sector. You understand? So the only way how they would diversify the economy, now for invest in agriculture, invest in tourism, invest in other things then.
Okay.
So now we meet agriculture, government budget allocation was 3.7%. Now we make it to 6%. It shows you say, we don't spend millions and millions of money for buy tractors. You understand? And
but that's not the effect on the ordinary people.
No,
it's 4 years now,
yes,
and they're not feeling it. Food is still expensive.
No, but
and the living standard very high.
But all of this, what they say, if you go beyond, let's say, for example, Waterloo, okay, you go upline, you go see lots of farms there. You understand? It is better than it was before.
Okay.
Because now, when people are getting
so you say the life of people don't better than it was before?
Yes, but in terms of
bread and butter issue?
No, we make reference to like rest, for instance. So I'll give simple instance. If this person government can support them again in farm, you understand now you're doing rest. Rather than for go do this with my rest way with the buy, and now they cultivate the rest now your own farm and then they eat them. You understand? Because of government interventions. You understand? So there are a lot of things that way we need to do more. You understand?
The president meets recently with the private sector, business people, and one thing we come up from that discussion, the challenge we then they get for forex, foreign exchange. And they just released statement from the Bank of Sierra Leone. Make I read parts of them. They say the high unfulfilled demand for foreign exchange for the importation of key commodities, which is rice and fuel, will lead to significant depreciation of the leones, which will lead to higher prices that will negatively impact the living standard of the people. Listen, yesterday they released this document. So it shows, the living standard of the average Sierra Leonean still going to be very challenging for them. And the foreign exchange still unable to stabilize the leons to the $8. Waiting governments actually they do, because this come out from even the business people having access to it for able to buy fuel and all that is still a very serious challenge.
There are two things, Lamrana, we up on pandemic. The first one was, like you say, there is challenges, we don't happen to them, would affect them and then business them, right? For instance, the ECR machine and some of the tax that we do now, and then for instance, also Mr. Foster, we come up from Chamber of Commerce. In fact, in it actually talk say, in the suggest say, even at policy level, it will always file a government get them at the initial stage rather than at the implementing stage. So then they go make contributions before now it go to a further stage. But there's another secondary issue where you talk about Forex. Now, foreign exchange in a country, basically about import and exports.
So we are not exporting?
Exactly. So it means say, the more you export, the more Forex you get in return, you understand? Because you do exports. And the more you import, the more you spend. You use the Forex for go out than the Kaiser. So, but the challenge we'll get, a structural challenge in the first place. It means say, we get for spend and invest more in manufacturing. Okay.
Manufacturing of what?
Manufacturing.
We have the mining sector that you were so sure of. That's we get King Owe come and take over from Shandong, and they were very, very boastful of what they will be doing for boost the economy. But we've not been seeing much.
No, Lamana. COVID came.
Yeah, but COVID didn't stop the exportation of minerals. Let me
tell you what COVID did. Investors, they were the can of this country. You understand? Most of them financiers and banks, now out of this country. So when COVID came, you understand, it had to affect them financing of the operations. Okay, that's very important. I go give you King Okam. sea right scam. So
Yeah.
even with COVID, okay, you get FG gold. So you get companies that we don't come.
Yeah, but so they're not creating any impact on the economy.
No, they are.
Even with them coming.
No, they are. But the problem is they have challenge with financing. So when means say, you understand, before COVID, the amount of money where they go don't mobilize and don't come, you understand? The financiers now, then go for now look and say, okay, COVID don't come. We self get we on demands them. How do we make sure we now look at this investment, look at this contract? Yes, sir. That is outside of our control. But it also means say before COVID, we be the export more. You understand? Even for the iron ore and all that thing. But now, because of COVID, freight costs, shipment costs, so all of that get effect on the economy.
Okay.
Because the more, like you say, these mining companies, the more they export, the more we get foreign currency with the come. Yeah. Now also give you that instance. Now even say on the OMCs. Yeah. Because they are all putting pressures on the forex. So now, like the vice president will be the talk today, talk about even MP, how then they get this fuel on credit. You understand? Now then they have to go pay
They need
money.
to pay.
Exactly. So it means say because they're not getting money, governments get forget a scheme where we they give them money. So even throughout all we get Q and all that kind of thing, governments give millions to those people for make sure say they get products for Canada. Okay, so government is taking steps for make sure say we ameliorate suffering. It just means no more. The challenge is that
the challenge pass the actions they want to take.
No, the actions they pass the challenges there, but the difficulty is the challenges they're heavy.
So we're not able to address them at all.
So we are addressing them, but then because we address them, we're not able.
I want to ask how people where the president they appoint, able to handle some of them institutions there. Because at this same meeting, it was there where the president say some of the things that they bring to your attention. So we have to do with policies, taxation, and other things. Now for the very first time in the year, but one could imagine, these are challenges that are not a new thing. Most of the things that we demand and they say, and I'm sure for you and myself, where they observe what's in the happen publicly, they listen to radio, they follow social media as well, and global news as well. So how is it that people that were in charge not able to channel some of them concerns there until the president go here for the first time?
So you always remember say governance now about layers, yeah.
But they were ministers who were there at that meeting.
Yes, I come. Answer the question, man. Government layers, yeah. So now I'll give typical example. So we're more practical. So when the fuel shortage come and all the crisis come, then we had lots of meetings, okay, between the OMCs and then between the Ministry of Finance, between the Ministry of Trade. It simply means say that before something they go to president force, you understand it, at na chain work. It's now almost like something happen. I say, okay, but I'm gonna deal with that. La left junior when I the CEO. You understand? Then you can do what you do and try. And then if you're able now, you can then now escalate and I'll say, okay, junior, I need this is a decision for making it to come because now that's something important. Okay. So there have always been meetings and when for me then try. For me, they solve some of those problems. You understand? But sometimes some of those problems, then can need forget now that kind of executive direction and decision for what they take.
So for all this problem, they be the president, in ministers or head of MDAs, not a brief them on what is happening and how then they all meet with people. For the president go understand, because like you said, they've had meetings. Like for the ECR, they've been having meetings with the business sector.
Exactly.
And I could imagine the president could be briefed on that because there was a time where shop then lock, then people then go on strike and all that. And for the oil, then don't they meet with the marketing companies, importers as well. So I still they ask if these people actually, how the president is being briefed on what is happening.
So yes, so they can brief president and then can give president and the president with what's in the happen and then also then they wait if president need to make a decision and waiting for happen. But there are sometimes again, like I said to you, let's say for instance the ECR machine. So the ECR machine, like you say, then gets meetings, But remember, say we all as human beings, nobody know how to make money come on iron. Okay, so for pay tax. That's something very challenging all over the world. You understand? But there are sometimes some addition that we get for make, you understand? Because most of what's in we hear the people they say, you understand? Nothing the way very important and very critical, you understand? And like president say, part of what's in he conducts that meeting day, now for make sure say, not just for listen, for make we sit down and try to find solutions to them, you understand? And there's something about in the way government can don't do. minimal things them, you understand? But then get so much impact. So I will give you a simple example like Vandy. So the guy we talk about traders cancel. So you remember, so there was a point in time where NACSA then give this emergency cash to traders there, 1 million or 1 point something, you understand? Eh? Now they tell he say, yes, who there will say and say it's small. He said, but the amount of impact whether one they create now trader the life, he said it's unbelievable. So it simply tell you, say, some of those things, yes, they're going to be small, they're going to be minute, they're going to be challenging, but it's important that with the translated in there, for me to make you say it kind of critical things.
This statement from the Bank of Salion, clearly they show, say, we challenge them still there.
Yeah, of course,
you know, it will continue to affect, you know, the ordinary Salion union. What is government doing to address them? What are the immediate measures then? We see other countries, then they announce cutting wages of, you know, ministers, political appointees, and cutting down traveling overseas as well for safe costs and other things then. What are the immediate measures that we government they take for addressing problem there, apart from the existing ones?
Okay, so firstly, definitely we don't talk about things the way government don't do in terms of you know, like salary increments here and there for people living at the public service. And then so what we do now, like I said to you, the issue about Ukraine and Russia is important, it's serious and gets a ripple effect. So they try for make sure, say, one, like the Honorable Vice President say, we try for the Forex, so on fuel. I just want to give one practical example, right? On fuel.
For make Forex more available.
Forex more available, yeah? And then one of the things that Baku don't do now for make sure, say, in the supply chain, you get dealers that you get importers them. You understand? We don't increase the margin to 250 loans. You understand? So go make sure, say, then self get something for where they're able to get for do them business, because it's very important as well. Now, things like foreign exchange is challenging because we are not a massive producing and manufacturing nation. You understand? So therefore, we just get for make sure, say, we continue for invest more, for make sure, say, we produce things them. You understand? And outside government can able help for make sure, say, we get availability of commodities at the market. Governments can always do that one day. You understand? Because I think at the end of the day, yes, many people at the tail Lambrana, they understand, say, what we they face now. You understand? Now something we get serious implication and serious effect. Like just these small quotes, yeah. The South African Reserve Bank, just in last month, they raised the lending rate to 25% basis. In the policy statements, where they give, where they raise the rate, I just want to read what they say. Then say, global producer price and food price inflation continued to surprise higher in recent months and could do so again, particularly if the war in Ukraine persists into the growing season. So it means, say, most of the things that we talk about, so legitimately, you understand, about Forex, about the prices, these are things that we only able to affect Salon. Other countries like South Africa, they get bigger economy than we, they get big things like we. Now, their own, you know, South African bank, what they do, the Reserve Bank, and they talk about these things. So you understand, eh? Let's go to instance, place like.
So I just read where they talk. We say don't send we lending rates to an upward number.
Exactly.
I just read that. So it means it's more burden as well on the people and the banks.
No, but it also means, say, whatever measures we are taking, you know, these are not normal times, Lambrana. You understand, eh? Everybody in the government, even presidents, when they talk about those issues, you see them for himself. Now, human being, now, Papa, he gets relatives, you understand? Instead, affected, you understand? No government, no, they don't say, Lambana, we go sit down and gladly for the price they go up, you understand? These are global issues. United States, the inflation, the rate where it is now, you understand? It is on a 40-year high. So 40 years ago, this rate where they 40 years increase, I don't get so. UK, it is on a 30-year high. Canada, on a 30-year high. So it's a very serious issue globally. You understand? So we are trying as a government.
Countries very close to us, we see them, they take other policies. Then they announce, pay cut for people in public service for able cushion, cut down on traveling. Are those things the president they think about for cut some of our salaries them down and say, we see how we will spend on our side and help the economy?
Well, like, part of me work. Now, if president don't do something or talk something, I can say and tell you why the president's here.
But you think these are things that are important as well? How Unasef can sacrifice for help the ordinary people?
Yes, but of course. I mean, we are human beings, Lambrana. You know, we're not alien. We're not human beings. Like I say, believe me, Lambrana, the burden where politician gets, you understand? I never knew until I kind of governance.
Okay.
You understand? Like me, people are gonna meals every day, every morning, every day. You understand? It's
because they don't have.
But that's what I'm saying. So it means say at that informal level, you understand? So imagine now you're Minister of Information. You know, the amount of people they come to you now, it increased 10 times. You understand? And when they increase 10 times, these are people that we know just can't talk to or explain to. They're not going to understand. No. They're going to say, but you're not sure you get money. So it means personally, you understand? You they give money almost every day on a daily basis. Okay. So we say they're under pressure. So now make at the tell you say we understand because when price then go up, person get for cancel you can't cry say hey the rest don't go up, oil don't go up. So you say self as a person individually, you get for pull your money for support.
Okay,
you're a human being.
Quickly talking about the people, let me listen what's in the people and get for say, and we will come back. We can look a little bit about the other thing that we presidents talk about. Meanwhile, we focus on the inauguration speech with the three things that we want for corruption and that of lawlessness and indiscipline at the country. Let me take them voices there quickly. We'll come back shortly.
Not to think we hide again for say this current SLPP regime don't fail the people of this nation. They don't send we 20 years back, don't dump we at the pit of hell, don't left we at the wilderness. As you see the too much suffering in Pokuna the country, feel no the prices of basic food and commodities and they are the highest peak at the market. People they suffer for good food on the table a day. So this is a total mess to this country.
Me as a citizen, the government was education, say free education. But when you look at the education sector, a poor literacy, you can fail, and you can allow this even once you make it for fast, but they get to requirement where they cannot do anything because I found out so when they go to the exam, so maybe so in fact, so they don't get mind for facing up for facing the university. That don't show see they fail. The teachers their salary before. Now everything will increase, the kind of increase in petrol don't go up, so much it shows everybody now they look at prices don't go up, don't inflate. So how the salaries will not go up. All them say I don't think education. In fact, even president at the finance university they all strikes because of salaries and other things. City them is a completely mess up. Because electricity now the rationing where they go on about Kenya as I say, it's very, very poor. Because the ration just for let me say 2, 3 or 5 hours they change another divert another area. So all of this don't make the poverty don't make it increase because people every day where they do and get freezer and they manage their life at home. But now they'll make everybody know good.
So according to the manifesto, where the party tell you tradition for candle for we. As for me, as a Peter, train and qualified man, private man, I not see no nothing. Job facility no day. Nothing no day for we. Always the country will be no more. They go say yesterday better pass today. So we'll not see no improvement. We go big papa government if you get for make other settlement, let's settle and force for you.
And they're like really what you talk about manifesto beaucoup et try. But like what's not what we go tell them the business and they in the go up like I don't how they buy the business not so now. As anything and buy the dollar don't go up. And Sunday with the business people then will suffer really because what you talk about education is okay. The light business is okay, the road business is okay, but there when they talk to government for this business, anything they increase.
The government they try, they don't try. Upon in the manifesto, if they assess, they don't try something like 60 to 65%. So the remaining, like the basic living of we the citizens is not really easy. And that's how government need for improve on because every day prices they skyrocket. And even the motorbike they buy before this time they didn't be 9 million. But just within 6 months, motorbike don't go to almost 12 million, 11 million, 700,000 loan within 6 months. We ask, they say now government don't put heavy tax for them. And the government don't put tax for them, when a heavy tax on the pay, they're not got no option except they increase the price. Because we can move as representative of the bike riders union in this district, we move with the interface with a lot of stakeholders, the business people. When you go any side today where something go up, you ask, it's in a government is price.
I will start for say plenty thank you to God because God now do that leader day. That leader they don't come, he promised, but do plenty things. We of to me some if they don't drum, they don't try for drum. And which to me observation, a need for do more on the day where they say they do, they not be don't do it yet to the expectation of people. One as the Sierra Leonean and individual opinion, economy not be don't fix it. There are still challenges with regard to economy in this country. Because before this time, if you rate the dollar now, $100 is way above 1,300,000 as we speak now. And the layman way in a village, they not able to afford for if they buy a bag of rice. Like this now, the month of Ramadan, some of you go buy a bag of rice, 420,000.
Development economic but actually the thing when I would do just don't work maybe even everything don't work even if over the stream or buy everything at the stream something will buy five block now don't want sound don't get me so now they don't high so it's now this BNC now they don't make that the all Junior Tiago, I think it's proud citizen of Senegal, Maladio, 5 years now. Well, I can't say they don't do well for me because back then, both on the city was that but they don't make sure say both on with the sleeper lights. We phone them, we always connect to internet. Then with the chat phone, then that one again we don't do. Then most of the street then when our principal street then like Weimar Road and Matron and all those street then way then have both on way not be quota. But right now we also see there is easy access for making people from Freetown and enter inside the capital. That's not putting with them. Then again when they come inside, they come with free education and they go they say it happen. Now schools them then they make sure say they make everything affordable to students and within the university. We want for tell Excellency Dr. Julius Madapio. Plenty thank you for what you do for we people then are both. We appreciate you, sir. We love you. Let God make you come back.
That are views of people from McKinney, Kenema, and Bo. And the Keke, you don't get the views them, but waiting generally summarize most of the comment and people in the way acknowledge, yes, say, yeah, government has been doing this, but it's still their livelihood. What the assurance that things could get better? We are moving to elections next year.
I think I'll start by saying that we are human beings, yeah. So we understand what they say, and every government where you take power, you want to improve people's lives, and we are committed to that. But the reality is just that COVID-19 and this war we don't start now.
But this why not say to start.
Yes, but we don't start now. COVID affected the fundamentals of the economy, so everything changed. Yeah, because it was a worldwide something. Everything changed, and we appreciation of the COVID. You understand at this real level. It will be different from the Minister of Finance, yeah, because it will tell you what he actually mean in terms of cash flow and the economy. You understand? So we understand it's about livelihoods, it's about the foreign exchange, it's about the prices. You understand?
What's in the assurance?
Government, no, the assurance what it says. This is not government where people centered, yeah. Just a couple of weeks ago, we get queue all over the place, petrol station them be locked and all that kind of thing.
The first lady said opposition they sabotage. The government agree with her. I say the filling station, the NP and others opposition owe them. Is that a government narrative?
No, I mean, listen, there are challenges, okay? And because there are challenges everywhere, you understand, thoughts them, people in mind and everything, because everybody is desperate to make sure that government change.
Is the government being sabotaged?
You understand?
In that sector?
No, but all the thing I could tell you now this, that NP connects when I be former
Total.
Total and also Malador, they're in the petroleum sector. You understand? Then self get an obligation for make sure say, you understand? Because that's something you do, the service they are doing to the country. You understand? But the important thing.
But government not greasing and sabotage make fear not been there at all. It's a challenge in the war and all that in them. When I not agree with waiting First Lady say.
No, I mean, this is not about waiting First Lady say. You understand? This is about making sure say the stations them with they, you understand, make they operate. Because we know say during the time where obviously we get some issues with the fuel and everything, we get station we be locked. You understand? Across the petroleum sector there, because me no want try for single out station, against station. You understand? Me no want do that one day. But what I just want to say that government is committed to supporting people, to supporting the OMCs, the companies them, because it's critical. And the assurance I will give them are the fact say, if few weeks ago, queue them be there, now queue another day. So it means say government is committed to make sure say we address things that will affect people in life. You understand? And that same assurance now will give people really listen to say, yes, it's challenging, it's difficult, but government is making strides, we're taking actions to make sure say, even though we know they control the war in Ukraine, even though we don't get control over this COVID will become, but we are doing everything possible for make sure say we address people in life.
One tweet I read this morning was very interesting, and I want to read them from Joseph Israel Kamara, the former Attorney General and anti-corruption boss. It said time for real austerity measures to cushion the hardship on the people, reduce GST by 10% and 0% for light and water, open free ports, custom zones, and ban all government foreign travels, including the president. Don't bother to thank me, Salona Weolion. You think this is...
I mean, not go take a lecture from me.
Hey, why is a Sierra Leonean too? It's just, but this is my opinion. He's not he's giving his opinion on a public platform.
With the greatest respect.
Why is your land friend, your land colleague?
Yes. With the greatest respect to me, senior like colleague JFK, but I'm not going to take a lecture from JFK we be the part of APC we left for austerity.
Okay.
You understand? Because
Santana, waiting they not been doing the advice now.
Well, exactly. But the fact of the matter is, government they take actions, because most of the way JFK talk about is simple for making just right. You get for know what are the revenue implications for all of renting and you understand? The only way government get more not through revenue.
Will the president continue to fly, or he go cut down on his travel?
No, president will travel just because
the president be say he go continue for fly. I just ask.
So I tell you, Lambana,
with the current economic situation globally and even with
so Lambana, president travel. They do not because he left for travel. So let's get it clear for us. You understand? He do because it's travel essential.
Okay.
You understand? So I tell you, for make you left here to go Vietnam, 14 hours. President Motaman, nobody would want to sit in a plane from your country for go for 14 hours. You understand? He's only doing it because he make that sacrifice there because he knows say we will get returns.
Okay.
So we'll go Vietnam, what you don't get. As I talk to you now, you understand, in addition to the agreement, don't sign and therefore give you support in terms of expats there. Now we get a 20 million investment where they can do on rice. You understand? Where
that's good news.
Exactly for the production. You understand? So all the things the president they make, they're very essential. And they just do it because it just wants.
So I'm just asking, with the current economic situation globally, is it something in spokesman? Is it something he's thinking about? Say, okay, we need to cut down on certain things that within government for ensure say we're able to cushion the economy and support certain. Because if the president is traveling, he needs money. There are trips he'll pay for a flight to travel out of the country. People already travel with get for getting per diem and DSA and all that.
Lama,
so get for pay hotel and all that.
Lama, the amount of invitations there we president.
No, I'm not asking about the ones that win an invitation. Some invitation they won't pay for flights, some he will pay for flights.
Wait. The premise of which he is saying that president only travel on things that were essential. So when means say, you understand, whether it cut them or it not cut them, it don't already they cut them because it they make a personal choice for only go past side they were very essential. That are the fundamental
so
thing.
So as an example, you know your economy, you earning gets a challenge. There are decisions where you definitely get for take for ensure say which you get you able to spend and power that's in them. Maybe say for your education, you picking the education, healthcare, and all that's in them. There are decisions we can take. So that make they ask. Is this something that the president would take a decision on?
If the same daddy, gets for left in us, for go say gonna book streets, because when I go meet that books they get 20,000 loans, for car supporting family. They go do and become essential.
So
if the same daddy,
so he can spend 1,500 loans for go get the 20,000.
Exactly,
loans.
because at the end of the day, he still long get 18,500.
But not all the trips president they go and they go get money, pa. Not everyone.
But there are also certain trips the way now statutory trips them. You understand? So for instance, if President go African Union, it's just a statutory trip where you get for go because the head of state get for the day and colleagues get for the day. So imagine now, then go to African Union, always you head of state go for waiting because they don't want to spend money per probably flight or what they call. People will not take it seriously. And that is why, because part of also what we need to understand that president gets a responsibility also for put Salona a posture for make other countries them they respect them. You understand? That is part of what they do.
So one of the papers I read this week, where I'm sure you should read now, Salon Times newspaper. Let me look quickly how they rate the president. Let me look at that. Then we go look at the story. Yes, the Salon Times newspaper and the rating of the president. Energy, they say C, health, F. And then at the screen now, you can see economy and trade, F, agriculture, F. This now. Let's read a part of the story quickly. Say, today, Monday, 4th April, marks 4 years of President Bio and the Sierra Leone People's Party government since they took power from Ernest Bai Koroma and his All People's Congress. With just 1 year remaining in office, therefore it is but fitting for President Bio to be assessed on what he promised the people of Sierra Leone in his manifesto and his maiden address to the nation. A mark on education, fighting corruption, the economy, health, agriculture. What do you think? But I'm sure you don't.
Well, then opinion of one man when my good friend.
No, paper, not to one man. No, the paper publisher, Salon Times newspaper.
Well,
it's not an editorial.
Okay, so
it's a story that they.
Okay, so make a land. So that opinion of the editor of the paper. When a one man. We imagine we get about 7 million plus people. One man just talk dandy. And we expect an opinion. This is a democracy. And me go tell you say, if you take any other person for make a 3. It will give you A, it will give you B.
So the editor not get to know well.
No, well, in opinion way give.
Yeah, but it's not an opinion piece in the paper. It's a story of which
it is the opinion of the editor where they edit the paper.
Yeah, no, but editors do write. Newspapers, media houses do editorial pieces. This one
so make I rephrase them. It is the opinion of the paper.
Okay,
you understand? And because the paper opinion, it's a democracy.
Okay,
you understand? And democracy means say. Not so we all go agree on everything, you understand? I will tell you, you get people in back way, then go if they ask them about Salon Times, you understand? Some man will give a negative opinion about Salon Times, you understand? Because that is democracy. What they say is that paper there in opinion.
How you go mark on yourself? How you go mark in your own opinion as a Sierra Leonean? How you go mark on in 4 years?
We've done excellent.
A, B, C, D, F. How you go mark on?
In fact, we have done B+.
B+?
Yes, B+. We don't do B+.
Which one?
And the only is, now we will not get the time.
With policies?
No.
With affecting the lives of the people.
Affecting the lives of people.
But we just watch where people tell you about how things are hard for them.
Yeah, but Lamana, hold on. Back then, we started this conversation, in fact, before we come on here. When Salon go play Benin na Conakry, the kind ecstasy where people get, the kind enjoyment at that time, you understand? Remember, I say from Juwetego Stadium, Boko people, you understand? You saw how the country was happy, you understand? It is still within the same 4 years period, you understand?
They were happy because of football, because Leon Stars qualified. It does not actually reflect on their lives, on how the economy they affect them.
But it is the state of the nation, not the important thing.
Yeah, the nation was happy about football, about Leon Stars qualifying. There's a context there.
No, but even now there's a context.
Yeah, the context now is, but that celebration did not take away the economic situation on the people.
We talk about 4 years.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
but they tell you say that happened within 4 years.
What we they talk about so now each 2 years is,
Yes.
but it doesn't take away the economic situation and the COVID way do I like the economic situation. Then away from the
at
people.
that time, we will still get challenging economic situation. But what are they telling the fact? Say
The people
we
were
really-
happy because
they
the
were-
country qualified to a
yes,
Nations
but,
Cup.
but more than that, because after 25 years, for the very first time they had a president, we make massive investment into sports.
Okay.
Football, we go now.
So the government is taking praise for that.
But you have to, you
Yes.
never only give government bad name.
I know.
Because price they go
I
up and they say
agree.
4
I
years.
agree.
Exactly.
So in this same 4 years, the president, like I read in the inauguration speech, fighting poverty is one thing where he clearly saying I war we want fight and win. Do you honestly believe it's something you've been able to fight and be able to achieve, if not say in 100% to a very large extent?
Yes, because it's a work in progress, Lambrana.
No, in the 4 years, we're talking about the 4
Now
years.
they say, Lambrana, in the 4 years, I go tell you, wait here, we don't do.
Now,
Now,
but how
there's a
you said
difference.
they agree with me, say not reflecting in the lives of the people.
So, because there are combining constraints that were out of government control. You understand? If we fail to pull down the out of the context, you just mean say you get one heartless
So
government.
how government is going to address the same problem there? Because let us after 5 years back, we see them again, it's the same. Then you run 5 years in government and you're not able to address, you're not able to put people out of poverty.
The fights in Ukraine, government get control over that day. It means say, up until the fight they continue, we get forget problem with fuel disruption. We get forget problem with forex.
That fight will not take 6 months.
No, they can't. But the fight just happened.
Yeah,
we get COVID.
So it means say something added the add the number of people that were poor.
No, but
it's not like it's taking people who were in middle class to poverty.
No, but I just read to you South Africa, the Reserve Bank, what did they say in the policy statement, how these things get a consequential effect on things the way they happen.
Okay.
Now the thing where you go ask me is like what you don't always do, waiting government you do, or waiting government get for do. Okay, government will continue to take steps. So for instance, we don't do salary increments of people that are getting a public service across the board, lecturers and 50%. Continue to take steps in terms of revenue loss. You understand? Even when the crude oil, the go up and down and then kind of thing, and the government is losing a lot because of excise tax, because of infrastructure development fund and all that kind of thing, you understand? So we go continue for the do, waiting with the do because we are here in government. Okay. When we talk about things that affect people's life, simple instance, for instance, 2.6 million kids are now having access to education.
Now that's how I will talk about education.
Yes.
Good you they care we go to that point.
Exactly.
Now I think where a lot of people, the ordinary Sierra Leoneans themselves, they commend governments way now on a flagship program. How do we build on it moving forward? Because it seems it don't be a policy where a lot of Sierra Leoneans they appreciate and think say it don't help, forget more picking them into schools and help in even their spending as well. How do we build on that as a nation?
It's challenging and it will only take, mark my word, the commitment of this president. You know why? Because it gets a personal story with education. Because it will tell you, say, you come on a village, you start nobody wear slippers, go school, say go put your own so in no way education do not in life. So for me to maintain this amount of, because remember, say we are spending 22% of we budget to education. What means say many other sectors, you understand, they suffer because of education. And we are only doing that, like I say, because of the political leadership. So it means say two things. One, we need for able make sure say we get the kind of political leadership commitment we'll get in President's bill. But also we get for also make sure say we get for improve we revenue collection. Because when you pay, for instance, billions per the picking them examinations, you spend billions for buy learning teaching materials, you don't spend billions for bus and all that kind of thing. You're also spending billions for school feeding. These are things that we then get for be sustained. You understand? And the advantage you'll get now also because the donors them like the World Bank and other people them, then see we say we credible. You understand? And therefore they invest into them back to some extent. So we got for just say we continue for keep the leadership we'll get for able to maintain this kind investment will get per
President Bill will be contesting the 2020 elections.
Yes,
Is this
of course.
something, if he wins the election, he'll be moving on with? This now a priority
Education.
for him as well, education?
Yes, because they're legacy, Lambrana.
Okay.
And that legacy, they na legacy where he passionate about. Because he know how it don't affect people in life. You understand? He also know what it mean. So people like you always talk, say, President Bill can make this talk, we can talk, they make a joke. He can always say, they do you understand? Because people always accuse and say, hey, this way you do so, you don't get any political gain, because not something where you go do, people go see and they go touch, then go watch, then go this. So those are challenges. So imagine you didn't expect a country where people are very political and they think, say, oh, pa, you didn't invest in education no more, but if you forgot put this money, put on road, put this money, put
Tangible
on lights,
things.
tangible people where they see. But because it gets a conviction, because it believes in them, it go always say, listen, what they do, not for now, not for tomorrow, it's for the future. And that kind of belief there, if you get any leader who is short-sighted, we just want to score political points, we just want bridge, it want road, it want this and that, who lose focus on it. Many countries we don't move, we don't develop, we don't invest in education, not overnight. You understand? It's a sustainable thing, like you say, and it takes a while for it begin manifest. But the good thing is, now the fact say, we don't begin to see results. So for instance, was the paper that will come up at 2021, where they analyze all the results, we see say pass and better grade them, we did about 63.6% for the very first time. When you look at also the same WAS paper they will mark, from credit to better, we get about 41.8%. You understand? That one they give you hope. That one day they tell you, say, yes, there's a brighter future. But if you pray for one thing, if you pray for me, you only get the leader with that like President Bill. We believe in them, and when they look and say, it's a sustainable and long-term thing, or those short-term political
Now, you
gain.
campaign now, or you campaign to the people?
Well, I campaign to you, campaign to the people, campaign to all man.
Let's move forward. The other thing where President Bill promised now the fight against corruption. And in a manifesto and way in the campaign, he promised a lot about transparency and accountability. And one thing where he said, within our manifesto, now that publicly declaring his assets. That was very clear. He said it. He's going to do it in his 100 days, which he not do now 4 years now. And for the very first time, we see governments don't suspend the Auditor General. This is a person where we have been there in opposition, commend a lot. When I use this government, use the audit report for even set up the Commission of Inquiry and the transition report we want to do. How transparent do you think you've been at a point where the president before me say go declare assets and not declare them, and we see someone don't subject the Auditor General into an investigation just because of the reports we pull?
Okay, so there are two issues you just raised. Obviously, they also surround
transparency and accountability.
So I want to treat them separately, if you don't mind. Yeah?
Go ahead.
So the first thing is about the fight against corruption. Yeah. Lamana Yusuf Kouate say, you understand, the fight against corruption now and today, it don't different. You understand? But even with that, you understand, for the very first time, you remember we come as a government, we control of corruption scorecard, the indicator by the MCC, we meet about 49%, 2017. Now, we do about 83%, you understand? We don't show, say, we don't make substantial gains. But we don't really stop there. We don't make sure, say, we don't look at, review the laws them. So before now, the ordinary, the anti-corruption legislation, we don't amend them 2019 where they tell you, say, if they get you corruption offense, then find you guilty if you pay 30 million loans. Now, you should pay 50 million loans, you understand? So they make it difficult and risky for people who depend on corruption. But not only stop that, even the affordable barometer, the way they come out, you understand? People in perception, you understand, where they get, don't change, you understand? Transparency International, we index now, would go up, you understand? So there are many things the way Francis Gefala don't do. Are there challenges? Of course, there are challenges, you understand? Because presidents always don't say, you for make corruption let fanciful. That means say, you foresee corruption, you see I'm afraid, you know for good.
How does the president lead by example in those things? You know, we on a canvas when I've been they tell where most people when they travel with, that was a lot of people commended that transparency and accountability and have been promised for Duam. When not continue for Duam, how does the president we've been promising 100 days he could decline assets? There was a law we state that, but he knew that, but he didn't do it.
Yes, now they are one canal. You understand? So now make I tell you, say what I say, the only reason to make I not give you A because of what you don't do, not some of them thing and they.
Okay, we're not able to do and
so because like for instance, the thing about declaration, public declaration, yes, it gets in own legislative restrictions. You understand? You don't go expect, say, as president, you understand? Yes, even though you don't say something, you understand? But because now it's in law,
but una know of this before, una kind of government, una know of all the laws there.
Yes, but now they say, but because
so was it just to satisfy the voting public? Say we go say this, but we know say law they will come or no go do am.
So the question would be, you understand, what you want to do for make sure say the laws then get amended. You understand? So 2019, we will not amend the Anti-Corruption Act.
Yes, that was after the president is elected.
Exactly. Yes, after the election. Yeah?
Yes.
We don't beef them up waiting and don't make sure say it gets it, and now it don't make sure say that corruption are not fanciful. Yeah. These are things that we definitely for make we do we get for amend the Anti-Corruption Act. You understand?
Yeah, but another amend in 2019 already. So why we not been doing?
No, for make we able to fulfill that, we get for amend the Anti-Corruption Act. You understand? But as we did now, we don't amend the Anti-Corruption Act yet, you understand? It will be something that obviously that we'll be doing in future.
Is it something the president is committed to doing?
No, he's committed to doing it.
But why didn't he do it? So I get all the supreme executive authority and all of that.
Because there's a legal encumbrance.
Yeah, but if the president is willing and ready of his statements in opposition, in 4 years, there could have been a plan. There are a lot of things where the president don't pull. The repeal of the 1965 Public Order Act, the removal of the death penalty. These are things where he say they do and they do them. So what the problem with this? We get for do with accountability and transparency.
Just the one list all in the way.
Yeah, but so it shows the commitment.
Yeah, no, but it also means because presidents committed to the incident, you understand? Nothing the way you don't talk, you don't do them. If you don't give you hope, say.
No, I'm asking specifically about the presidency and his office and accountability. And we let's take it to the other issue. We just see a report where come out where involve at the office, even the president on in travel. Now the audit report, we see the suspension of the Auditor General.
No, they don't suspend Auditor General because.
No, I'm not saying because we see where this thing happen and that action they happen.
Okay, so now the second pathway about this, about the Auditor General. Now, obviously, you know, say the tribunal law stands, and it's a legal matter. It's some judicial.
Yeah, we're not talking about the matter, about the action of the president in his commitments to ensure accountability and transparency. And this is not somebody where una believe she has been very professional. You've used his documents and all that.
Comment because the action of the president is predicated on a stated case.
Okay.
Named in the tribunal.
Okay.
So that tribunal now they investigate, they inquire into what's in the case, what's in.
When they start for begin giving list, we need for round up time the close on. When they start for begin giving list, like how be start of people with the travel with the president.
Lamana, we don't get this.
No, yes, but you promise.
Last hour can I will still get them. Again, say. We not get any problem in giving list.
So what are they doing?
That's what I'm saying. What I tell you, say, when we come, now we start for Duam. With a give list on a case-by-case basis, depending on what we think, say, understand, a essential for my public.
When last you usually list, we get the names of people where the president they travel with, the number of people where the president. When last, now you can issues.
Yes, so it don't say because all time when they issue the list, we can look at the list and we look at why they traveled, and we look at say, okay, this way they travel, is it essential for us to do the list? So it's a decision which we have to make.
So all this while, from that first time to now, you think say not important?
After that, we don't book one them.
No, so the one way they publish, like the list.
I'm gonna wait. We don't publish the one in there. You understand? We don't do one, now we start.
But you don't say.
Before, yes, you don't say. But we don't say because every time we travel, we they look at different other factors. I explained this last time, you understand? We have nothing wrong for make we publish list.
Earlier, you say presidents, they go meetings, we very important and they need for go because he's part of like AU meeting, ECOWAS meeting. Of this one, I must know most people, the president. And you can't tell us how many people the president is traveling.
No, it's simple. The last time you ask me, I say 15. You understand?
No, I'm asking for the public, not just myself, like you used to do it. Put the names. These are the people.
So there is nothing.
Now you begin. Why there be problem now?
What's the problem? The only problem where you get now the fact say you think say you understand me for give list at every travel.
No, not at every travel.
So I'm asking you say, you understand, and the list of the give, now we start. All of us say, okay, you can't tell me say 8 text. well, we need list. No, now me start. We start voluntarily.
Yeah.
So, but then as we don't
And I
along,
promise say that's a process you'll continue
Exactly.
for transparency and
And we are
accountability. If
still-
we're not even beginning enough for ask, and I shouldn't be asking you this question.
and we are still committed to doing it. You understand?
Okay.
Eh?
Okay.
Now, nothing has changed. You know the difference between me and you no more now. You just want means you just the things say now. But the next episode it's travel, we need for put list.
Yeah,
because,
but that is what you
understand?
said. That is what
So-
you promised to do.
Yes, so
that
but
is what you told me and the public.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not-
I don't tell you say
No, it's something you promise as a way of transparency and accountability
Yes.
for to inform the public of people and where they travel with the president.
And we have still kept to that promise. The
people list
the
regarding
only,
names
the only
of people.
difference it don't say. But the only difference
So
between
all land travel and they not require for let the public know of how many people
so
the
we are
president is
looking,
going.
we dey look at different constitutional with the police.
Mm.
Now, the point, the basis or the premise upon which you want to make we put the list. Now,
No, that's what me wants.
okay.
It should be public information. It's not
the
me.
basis upon people where they ask,
Mhm.
including you,
Mhm.
wow for put the list. Now on the premise say we therefore get value for money. So it simply means say the one where they travel,
Yeah.
and we for the one where they travel,
Exactly.
how much they cost, and all that kind of thing.
Mhm.
You understand? In response to that one day, I don't tell you say then I just one of several considerations what they do because at the end of the day, not even say Vietnam, yeah, we don't go Vietnam. We travel go Vietnam, we don't go get 20 million, we don't come. You understand? Whatever we spend on that traveling, if the premise now for say value for money, we don't get
And accountability.
we don't get 10 times than whatever we
And
spend.
there are other trips where they go when they get 10 times more
Exactly,
than
you
so
understand
it's
it?
about
But those
accountability
are
as well.
statutory trips, you understand? But also remember, say, access to information as journalists, you very well know, say, the law make and clear, say, if you want to get that information, we always go through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You can go Foreign Affairs and can give you the.
Yeah, I'm not just asking for myself. I'm asking for your office as well to help your office because you were doing it.
No, wait till they
If
say,
whether
you now
you'll continue to do
Lama,
it. You won't give the public assurance so you will continue for doing.
Of course. The last time back, I showed the public.
But not see him. You don't tell me you get it's almost 1 year now. And we've not...
You not see him because you want to see him for the next.
No, it's not me. It's because of the public need it. And you do social media, you do see the conversation and discussion and questions where people and they ask. And these are genuine questions, by the way.
No, of course.
Because it's taxpayers' money.
Lama, I have said to you, even every question where you ask there is genuine, legitimate.
Okay.
And I make at Sidoya for provide to the answer.
Let me round up quickly. The final see what I ask about. Now, one thing we, the public been believe say the president is going to handle. And he was very, very serious in making statement about it. And I've seen your office also issuing statements about people where then a government where they broke traffic and all that. The issue of indiscipline and lawlessness in the state. I heard the president passively talk about that when he meets with the business people. They mentioned the Okada riders and Keke riders as well, but passively, by the way. How una go rate, the issue of handling in discipline and lessons? We're moving to elections in next year, and that is very important. The things the way they happen, how certain individuals and they take law on their man, attack people, destroy government properties as well.
It's a very serious issue, and President is very committed to it. But we live in a democracy, so there's always a counterbalance, yeah. Because when you, as a government or as a president, you do something, you want to go very hard, you want to go exact and instill discipline. What's going to happen? You get human rights organizations, you get people where they say, "Oh, people are rights and all that kind of thing." Yes, Yusuf Kino say, we country don't be relatively peaceful, you understand? But yes, there have been isolated incidents in terms of the Tombo, in terms of the prisons, even this last one in terms of them, but they go on the streets, they go lighter and all that kind of thing, they understand it. These are challenges. Because at the end of the day, like what you say, we as a government, we get a responsibility to make sure, say, we keep the peace. You want come on a host to you want kind of AYV, you want come, everything is peaceful, everything will go all right, you expect the government to keep the peace, you understand it? So we try and we work on that for make sure, say, we maintain law and order. But then the only thing is, most of it, sometimes, not always, they are politically machinated. You understand it? So me, they use this form now. You understand?
Well, I'm asking about the one where una even need for pull a press statement, say people within a government not for broke traffic. The Ministry of Internal Affairs, they pull statements say people not for cover the number plates, but they're still doing it.
Yeah, so
they're moving around and doing it.
No, so we've done that. So most of the things that we say, like press release or we press them, they say nobody know for the cut traffic. And they understand it, and we are enforcing it. Now, it's a different question about compliance. You understand? What is the compliance rate? You understand? The compliance rate.
And I'm asking this about even people in governance.
Yes, that's what I'm.
You know, we for lead by example.
And that is the more serious issue. Because if you say government they put law, you want everybody abide by the law. You look at a government, they put example. You understand? The increase. You self go be a witness. Before now,
just yesterday, I see people in a Pademba will block lane traffic where they go. They block lane and cover the number plates.
Yes, now they say, but
and they cover number plates, but you get certain people where they move around and they cover them plates. And government has said, no, we shouldn't do this.
But then, all the one in there, you understand, the Minister of Internal Affairs, they take stock, and most of them, they wait to them call, we didn't get reported.
Do you clearly believe, you know, President Bio has done more in handling in discipline and lawlessness? Has he been so serious about make that statement in inauguration?
Yes, of course. Like I said to you, we can't relatively peaceful. You understand?
That is understandable.
But because it's relatively peaceful, you understand it? Huge aspects of that now the maintenance of law and order. Because you only got to go only peaceful when law and order day. You understand it? So we've done a lot, and he has done a lot. You understand it? They are like everything. If you were me to talk about free education, again, you challenges them. You understand it? But the thing is, when these challenges occur, like what you always say, the question is, what in government they do? You understand it? We have taken actions. Even when they went, for instance, this BNC way they say the motor drivers and president and executive, they say, oh, strike no do, man. On a street say strike, they don't charge them go court. You understand? Because it's a rule-based society. You understand? If person commits an offense, you can't go to court. You understand? And make the court find and want it and find and the point where they make about some of them incidents that were isolated, because we also know, say for instance, many of them incidents, whether the audio the way, some of the people that they make, or the political mischief. So one try for appeal. So we brother and sister, there were now other political parties, the APC, NGC, other one there. Make we for all try, you understand? Make we not use young people for more than go into violence. Because at the end of the day, if something happen, it will affect we all.
With all what is happening finally, it's 4 years. Next year we are moving to elections. Are you very sure, say President Bio, now on a flag bearer already of the SLPP, you very sure say when they win the elections?
Yes, I'm very confident, Lambana. I'm confident because people trust him. Yeah, I'm confident because we have done lots and lots of things then. On the human capital development, we've done a lot on education, we've done a lot on healthcare, on the rule of law, on governance, we've done a lot of reforms, progressive reforms, like what you say, repeal of the Public Order Act, we've abolished death penalty, we've done a lot of things. Now, there are challenges on the economy, on the bread and butter
And the people won't vote on that?
No, they will vote on everything, but let me tell you one thing. When you get your ballots now, Johan, yeah, not just one issue you go think about. You go think about them, but also it's about alternative. Yeah? If you don't vote for SLPP or President Bio, who is the alternative?
Okay, so
alternative, not
at what percent are you going to win the election?
With a winner out second rounds. We're very confident about that day, and I'm not saying it out of arrogance. You understand? I am saying it because I believe, say, the president has done enough for make people give back that trust and confidence, you understand? And I hope, say, by what you don't do, you continue to sustain them, you understand? But when you hold ballots, yourself, what's not the alternative? efficient alternative.
Okay,
Because they don't get candidates.
Thank you very much, Yusuf Keko Thomas Andy, presidential spokesman and press secretary from State House. Thanks for your time. And hopefully we will get you some other time for discuss further on government policies and program. This now sits now the program the end. Thanks to the production team and thanks to our viewers them. Tete will meet back next week. Mina Madula Mganaba. Continue for watching YV.